magnify this place, we magnify your presence, we magnify your Bible, we magnify your word, we magnify every song we sing, right? So everybody's magnified, but of course, Jesus first. I have a wonderful lesson for you today. You'll find my subscription button right there underneath, asking you to subscribe to our channel. And you'll see my phone number, my address, inviting you. You know, we can become pen pals. You write me, and I will write you back. So today, the name of our lesson is Traps of Worry. Traps of worry. And what is a trap? It's any device, trick, or the like for catching a person unaware. A trap. Listen to that. A trap is any device, trick, or the like for catching a person unaware. Traps of worry. What do you do? Let me ask you today. What do you do when you get a bad report from the doctor? When friends, family betray you, or when finances come up short? How do you react when the enemy bombards your mind with his thoughts, or you find yourself weighed down with so many burdens? Do you worry? Do you become afraid? Or do you lose sleep? Perhaps you reason things out within your own self. Maybe you let your imagination run wild, or pray a wavering prayer that goes no further than your lips. None of these things. Say none of these things.
None of these things.
None of those things will make your situation any better. And they probably will make things worse. Many Christians today, they fall into traps of worrying. They worry too much or try to work out their problems on their own because they won't use divine faith. But why do they do that when it's simple to use God's faith and get truly profound results? So we're going to examine that today. Philippians 4:6 says, be careful or anxious for nothing. And anxiety is one of the symptoms that comes up from constant worrying. You also have symptoms of losing weight, gaining weight, sleeping too much, sleeping too little, heart palpitations, stomach problems, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And neighbor, I have to tell you today, we are living in a society of constant worry, constant stress, because so many things in our very lives, as well as the nation, are no longer consistent. You never know from one day to the next what may be going on in your life. And so we want to encourage you to use this lesson today to help you during those times, because guess what? It's happening in everybody's life. And I remember when I was growing up, it was, death really affected us, but now it's so prominent. Death of African American children, death of African American men, death of African American people, death of people in general. And so there's a lot to try to deal with in the hour that we now live in. We're living in very uncertain times. We're living in times where you just can't really plan too far in advance, because you never know. And that's the reason why you have to have faith in God. As I was saying, yes. And everyone is concerned about something. Now, you're going to feel nervous. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to experience sometimes where you worry. But when it controls you is what we're talking about today. Our society has now become a society of worry. Undetermined, not sure. And it's everywhere. It's across the whole planet, right? But the Bible says here in Philippians 4:6 to be careful, be anxious for nothing. But in everything, now underline that if your Bible is a workbook. Not just the things that you can't handle, not just the things that you want your husband to do or the children. It says, but everything just found out from being a pastor and the ministers here and co-pastor David, when we counsel people, when we talk to them, and we find out a lot of people are going through different things, we find out that the way most people handle it has a lot to do with their prayer life and their commitment to the Lord. And if there is no commitment and they haven't allowed the Lord to exercise their faith over a period of time, they pretty much collapse when certain things happen in life. Right? This is something for you to keep in mind. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be known unto God. Now, when you are anxious, doubt and fear begin to creep in. And that is what happened to the disciples when they were out on the sea, you know it, in the midst of a great storm. The waves were washing over the boat, and they were really scared. But suddenly, Jesus appeared, walking on the water toward the ship, saying, be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And so, in our lives, we have to exercise our faith so when a storm of the sea happens in our life, we'll know how to stand. So you got to exercise your faith on a daily basis. Because I've discovered that when you really need God for something really big in your life, if you have not allowed Him to stretch your faith, if you have not allowed the Lord to exercise your faith, to put pressure on that faith to see if it will stand, that when something really big happens in your life, oftentimes you don't survive it. Oh, you may look all right physically, but in your heart and in your mind. Notice this. He says in Matthew 14:27, be of good cheer. It is I, be not afraid. And did you know Jesus is saying the same thing to us today? Because He knows that perilous times are now upon the earth. Even when He is still here, even when He was still here, He said, but when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, to what? Be not afraid. When trying times comes, the Lord doesn't want us to be afraid. He wants us to be happy. And if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye. And be not afraid of their terror, your enemies. Neither be troubled, 1 Peter 3:14. You have to remember that God is always with you, and His divine love will cast out all fear. For 1 John 4:18 says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out all fear. So, listen to what we're talking about today. We're talking about traps of worry, which worry will lead to fear dominating your life. And this is the society that we are now in. You have to learn how to reason with God. Do you reason things out within yourself or with others instead of the Almighty God? Remember, He said in the word, Isaiah 1:18, come now, let us reason together. Saith the Lord, though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. Though they be like crimson, they shall be as wool. It is impossible for any human to make your sinful heart as white as snow. No man can heal and no man can forgive sins, but Jesus the Christ, who gave His life for both. So the Lord is telling you today that He can do the impossible. He can make something out of nothing and turn ashes into beauty. So why not turn things over to Him? Remember, He told us in Matthew 11 chapter, come unto me, all ye that are laboring and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. And reasoning with self or with others brings more and more and more and more doubt. It brings more and more and more fear. Why, you talk to some people, they'll scare you to death. They'll scare you to death. But I want to give you a few steps that just might help you. The first step is to recognize and acknowledge that trouble is a part of life. You can't outrun it. You can't go to another city. You can't go to another church in case it ain't no good. Another job. Get you a new husband when you ain't have a reason, a biblical reason for divorce. Get you a new wife when you don't have a biblical reason for getting a divorce. Trouble is everywhere. Everybody's dealing with something. And there's a lot of traps of worry out there. My God, just living life is a worry. Things have come upon you, and that devil is right there to invoke fear instead of faith.
Amen.
But I want you to think about these few simple steps that I have recommended to people here in the ministry, that when they did them, they worked out for them. Again, the first thing is to realize trouble is in every life. If your children aren't saved, that's trouble. You're concerned. You want your child to be saved. If somebody is sick, or you're taking care of an elderly parent, or you have a sibling that's not well, or somebody's incarcerated, or trouble on the job, all of these things, you have to first say, I'm being affected by what's happening in my life, what's happening around me. And I hear people say all the time, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Oh, just put that out of your mind. But it's not going out of your mind when it's bothering you.
That's right.
Yeah, amen.
And to put things out of your mind, to me, means you're not facing the reality. It's right. It's the big elephant in the room. Right? So the first thing that I try to encourage people to do is prayer time is a must every day. Remember, in case you just joined us, the traps of worry. Your prayer time is essential every single day. And you might have to pray more and talk to God more the more things happen, because we know from experience that things will often get worse before they get better. So you need more prayer. Right? So your prayer time is a must. You must have that time that you set aside that you're talking to the Lord. Because prayer is for you. Prayer is to get you ready. Another thing that's really important is quiet time. And quiet time allows you to stay in touch with reality. When you're going through different things in your life, it's not the time to make major decisions in your life. For example, some people, when they get depressed, go out and buy stuff.
Amen.
I'm going to let you think about that. Hold on. It's good. They go out and buy stuff because it provides an exhilarating feeling. Like people, those of you when you were in the world, you used to drink, you kind of felt good for a moment. As soon as you woke up, that problem, right? That problem was still there. And some people use sex the same way.
Amen.
And drugs and spending money. They all kind of like right on that category. But when everything is said and done, you still got to face yourself. And many people today struggle. Now, don't get me wrong. Listen to what Reverend Thomas is telling you today. I started out by saying what? Everybody has struggles. But I want to encourage you to be able to extend your life, to have joy in your life by just following these simple steps. Stay in touch with what's going on. Stay in touch with reality. It's too late to talk about what you could have did when your mama was alive when they did. Come on, somebody. And it sounds corny, it sounds funny, but if I could just tell you how many times I hear that. Oh God, I would have just did this for my mom, and then, but you didn't. Stay in the here and now. Traps of worry, the past. What you didn't do, what you couldn't have did. If I would have just been a virgin, too late for that, boo. And if I would have known all this before I got married, too late, check the word. Man, these kids, my God, I got too many, too late. Traps of worry. That's what Job said. He said, a man born of a woman just a few days, that baby like, get me out of here. Ain't that right? You notice the baby got different kind of cries. You know that. They got to cry when they wet. They got to cry when they spoiled. They want you to hold them. Just lug them all around like a third hip. They got to cry when they sleepy. Huh?
Amen.
Right? So stay in touch with reality. Face facts. Face facts. Very important lesson. Because the problem's not going away because you ain't ready to face them. Trouble not going nowhere because you're not ready to face them. It's like saying, I want to be unpregnant. You pregnant. You can't have that. And the further you get in your pregnancy, your tummy gonna stick out. Right? Face facts. Face. Don't go into no imaginary place in the atmosphere. No, stay right here. People are always talking about speaking into the atmosphere. No, speak truth. The next word I want to bring to you today as we study our subject today of traps of worry is preparation. A lot of people end up nervous wrecks, or their nervous system wrecks such a havoc because they are just not organized, prepared people. You can alleviate so much stress from your life by anticipating and being prepared as you can be. For example, today is a Sunday message. You already know you got to go to work tomorrow. It's a sure enough fact. You may not want to go, but you better be getting up.
Right.
So why get up complaining about life is hard? Right? The Bible said, whatever your hand found to do, do it. You know, you gotta pay the rent, right? Preparation. Get yourself ready for work. Get yourself ready for the day. You know they had that same project management meeting every second Monday, and you take notes. Why you want to roll up in there, ain't got the notes ready from last time? I mean, and just think about the pressure you put on yourself. Right? You know, every month, right around that time, it's time for your menses. What you got to call in for? No, this happened for, this gonna happen for many, many years in your life. So it's like a 28-day cycle. You feel me? It's like your husband knows know more about that than you do, right? It's like in the Wizard of Oz. They had the good witch, they had the bad witch. That's all I'm gonna say. But preparation takes so much stress over you. You know, today on Sunday, you should fill up your gas tank. So you're not running out. And you know when you're not prepared, it puts everybody else in danger. You woke up late. Maybe you ain't set your alarm. Maybe you snooze too much. So now you're going to go out. How many people, how many lives been lost because somebody was not prepared? So then you take all of those other people into danger with you. Why would you get up on Monday morning talking about what you're going to have for lunch? You might think this is minor, but every single day doing the same cycle. Some jobs, new jobs in particular, maybe you might take notes. What's wrong with reviewing those things over the weekend? You know, 2 days is a long time when you're on a new job and you're learning a lot of stuff.
Amen.
A whole summer is too long for some of our kids with nothing mathematical, nothing about world history, nothing about spelling, nothing about getting up on time. The summer is too long not to have a system in place. So when you go back to school, it's almost like you went back instead of going forward. Well, it's the same thing in God. We got to prepare to meet the day by spending that time with God. Some of us have a long way to drive. Man, I got so many CDs in my car. The love language. Mount of His glory. need that time. It helps you to unwind and maybe get your thoughts together about, and it just calms you down. And first of all, you calm because you left on time, right?
Amen.
So being prepared has a lot to do with your nervous system. Those of you who take medicine, why wait till you've been out the medicine 3 days, miss church, and go down there and get it? I ain't hearing none of it here. Right?
Yes.
You know this is date night. You know this is the night you spend with your wife.
Amen.
It ain't her fault that the game is on.
Right,
You feel me, right? I'm talking about being prepared.
That's right.
You'll get that one later. The one flew over the cuckoo nest. You'll get that one later. Right, women gotta be time. They just wanna feel special all day, not just that moment.
Preach, Reverend.
That's right.
Prepare. School's gonna be starting soon. Fees. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. You do things in the church, pray over them. Seek fast for your the gifts that, like Paul told Timothy, that gift that was stirred up in you by laying on my hands by your grandma Eunice. Not a spiritual gift.
Right.
But anyway, this is about traps of worry, not traps of counterfeiting the works of the Lord.
Oh, Reverend.
Yeah. But just getting yourself organized will help you. I remember when we were growing up, what my mother used to do. When summer came, we packed up all our winter clothes and put them up, and we brought our summer clothes down, and vice versa. Usually around when school started or in the fall, we didn't put our summer stuff up. Now it's all mixed, it's intertwined. It's 80 out, you got all you can find with quarter
Yeah.
But you got some of the stuff you just ain't look for. So you laughing at yourself and making fun, but you getting, sometimes funny things tend to stay with you.
Yes.
Funny good things.
That's it.
It tend to stay with you because you find yourself in that situation. You know, how many times have you worn that white shirt, choir member or deacon, before you laid it down, gonna follow me down to the Georgia Stream
Amen.
of your washing? Wait, how long? Right? So this just, and spending time with the Lord, it all adds up. Because you never know when things gonna suddenly happen in your life. And you gotta be ready. You're already dealing with what's happening in society. You know, when my son was shot down, other people in the ministry, people were dying in their family at the same time, and I still had to be all things to all of them while I was bearing my own burden, my own cross.
Preach now.
You never get over losing a child. Never. I don't care about that time heals all won't lie. Only thing time do is make you older. That's it. There's nothing like losing a child. You never get over it. But because in my life I let the Lord help me to use my faith to get me ready for that day, it still almost took my life. It's already been in my life. But I never would have made it without all of those other years of stretching my faith, fine-tuning my faith, putting me way out there to see how much I could believe God for. I would have never stood there when my son was killed. I would have never stood the test. Never. Never. Yes, praise the Lord, everybody. Now, as the pastor of this great church, other people, family members, was dying too. And I still had to be right there for them. Still had to provide consolation and encouragement. That was something else. That was something else. The next thing I want to talk to you about is exercise, eating habits, and a correct amount of sleep. traps of worry. The enemy of, they say comfort food. I want to say greedy, overeating, indulgence. Because if you get comfort every day with that lemon cake, it's going to leave you some unwanted pounds. So this is important. When you are going through difficult times, exercise is really important. Exercise is really important. You know, if you work on the second floor, walk up. If you live on the third, walk up. You know, your eating habits, those 5 food groups that you learned about when you were young, I don't know if they teach them to you anymore. They play a very instrumental role when you're going through difficult times in life. We need a certain amount of vegetables, and we need it's some carbs you do need. And then now we get on to the correct amount of sleep. And sometimes when you're going through, you need to rest. The mind and the body needs to rest. But if you're not trusted in the Lord, and if you up all night and He never sleeps, then that's what good is it? So you see, you got to let the Lord help you along the way. You know, you could just hear a firecracker going off in August when it should have been over on 4th of July. Baby, you'll be jumped out your skin because it sounds so clear, near to a gunshot. Now, the Lord didn't say we wouldn't get shot. He didn't say people wouldn't kill us. He didn't say we wouldn't experience things in our lives. But the key is to be prepared to meet your God. He said He would never leave us, and He said He would never forsake us. But He didn't say we were not going to experience traumatic events in our lives. He never said that. Many of us who have ended up being really good people, many of us who have ended up being really good stewards of God's faith, of God's love, are the many of us who have been through many things. Leaning, trusting, and depending on the Lord. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it's pretty hard to go through something traumatic and you haven't been using your faith in the past.
Amen. Amen.
I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's real hard. Because usually you can depend on the Lord and look back and see how He has helped you. And that faith will become virtue in your current situation.
Yes, yes.
Traps of worry. When you suddenly find yourself involved in something suddenly comes upon you, relax. Keep your composure. Take a breath. And carefully, can you say that? Carefully evaluate what's going on before you make a step. Traps of worry. Sickness, death, gonna happen in all of our lives. But guess what? This is a tough sentence, what I'm gonna say. It has nothing to do with your commitment to God.
Yes.
If He is the head of your life on good days, if you are committed, He will still be the head of your life on rainy days by your choice. Yes. Be very, very, very careful whose opinion you listen to. I found out personally, listening to too many people make you confused as a fool.
Amen.
Everybody got an idea about what you should be doing. You seek the help of godly people who can direct you in an outcome that's positive. You want to speak to people who can effectively change what's happening in your life. Amen.
Amen.
You want to who are good stewards of faith, good stewards of love. You want to talk to people whose lives exemplify what you now find yourself in. Somebody who can help you. And friends always want you to stay with God. Friends always want you to stay in a good marriage. friends always want you to stay home and do what your parents say.
Yeah.
If I can define what a friend is.
All right.
Godly counsel encourage you to keep on going forth and do what's right. Okay, I need to define what godly counsel is. Godly counsel ain't gonna tell you to leave your husband just because you tired and your ass on another man. No, godly counsel gonna tell you to cry out to be rid of that lust so God can deliver you. That's godly counsel. Godly counsel ain't gonna tell you to try the fruit before you get married. Godly counsel gonna tell you to seek God and let Him make His path plain in your life. That's godly counsel. Godly counsel always starts out with God and it ends with God. That's godly counsel. Godly counsel ain't gonna never tell you to mess around and do the things that's wrong. That's not gonna happen. And you must reason with yourself. Because when you reason with others and yourself outside of God, you're going to make some wrong decisions. Think about how that happened to the disciples more than once and more than twice. Here's a great example, Matthew 14:14. It says, Jesus said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, here's Jesus giving them a prophetic statement. And they turned around, gathering a hug, and started talking about what he just said. You see it? Then Jesus said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And can you all see them getting into a hub? Here they go. And they reasoned among them, saying, it is because we have taken no bread. Completely misunderstood what Christ was trying to teach them. Which when Jesus perceived, he said unto them, oh, you have little faith. Why do you reason among yourself? Because you have brought no bread? Do ye not yet understand? Neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000? And how many baskets he took up? Neither the 7 loaves or the 4,000 found in Matthew 15:32 and 38. Matthew 16, give you a couple of examples today. And how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning physical bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees? Then understood they how that he bade them not be aware of the leaven of the bread, but of the doctrine what they would speak. Right. Come on, somebody.
Amen.
Everybody go, I ain't a preacher.
Yes. Come on, Reverend.
Is anybody home, Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson? When my father was in rehab, he was having trouble walking. He had his, what's that one, the person in the room with you, what they call your roommate said, he heard the slightest sound, he'd say to my daddy, Mr. Johnson! Mr. Johnson! Are you there? My dad was right there in the next bed, but bless his heart, that's why I was that's why I said that. Right? The disciples drew the wrong conclusion when they reasoned among themselves. And listen, you call yourself a good steward of the word. When people are already down, don't kick them no more. They know they messed up. You feel me? They need some encouraging words. I really try to practice this in my life. When people are going through, or maybe they misspeak, or they say something that's wrong, or they do something that's wrong, I just try to refrain. I mean, really try to refrain from saying what got them in that spot in the first place. I said, no, let me, let them rise a little bit, because right now they in the gutter. Let them rise up a little bit. When they feeling better, I can say, you got a minute. Man, you looking good today. Feeling good, family good. Well, when you was going through all that mess last year, you did that to yourself. How would that bless them while he down? Oh, you down? Okay, hold on.
Amen.
That's right, Reverend. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
How would you like somebody to do that to you? You already going through. You already suffering. You already going through. You already in a trap of worry. Yeah, you know you shouldn't have did that. But can you encourage me now? Can Can you pray with me? Can you help me? I've seen this so many times.
Yes.
You got to talk to God. You got to talk to God. When you have something major, a major life event, that is not the time. Say, not the time.
Not the time.
Oh, y'all said it too proper. Not the time.
Not the time.
That's not the time to make a major decision in your life. Right?
Yes.
And if you're fussing and arguing, that's not the one you should marry.
Amen.
Tell me I love you, make a baby. No, we already populated the earth. We did that one. Right? But it's a time to what? To be still. To be still and to recognize God. It's a time for us to be still and to recognize God. And remember, no matter what's happening in your life, everybody is going through. Everybody is suffering. Well, neighbor, I have to hit you back a little bit more than that message the next time I see you. But I want you to know that no matter what you're going through in life, that I care. I love you. I care about you. And I want to pray for you right now about what you might be concerned about today. What might be weighing in your heart. Reverend Thomas, my son, was shot down. And I'm telling you, in just a few days, it's going to be yet another anniversary. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to face it. I'm going to face it with full faith. I'm going to face it, realizing that I am a child of the King. And I want you to know, neighbor, had he not been there for me, there's no telling where I would end up. There is no telling. You are never ready for sudden death. When my mom passed away, she had Alzheimer's. She died of a collapsed lung. We had so many days. We had so many weeks to say our goodbyes. We had so much time to sit there and laugh at my mom. You know, so many different things that I remember of her even today that would just make me chuckle, so to speak, but I didn't have that with my son. My mom, we would sit down, we would have dinners. I was assured in my heart that I would see her again. But one day I saw my son and then I didn't see him no more. You never get used to death. You never get used to death. And that sudden death, it just cuts your breath off. And my God, for the first week I was just numb. I was numb. It seemed like I was in a fog. I was in a daze. And I talked to my companion. And the only reason why I survived, I said, we got to bury him this week. I said, because if we don't, I'm going to go crazy. God was faithful. And you having a storm today too. Yeah, I know you are. You got to trust and depend on the Lord. And I want to ask everybody that's here today to say the sinner's prayer with me. And then I'm going to pray for your deliverance. God, miracles, He lives. And I want everybody saying, oh God!
Oh God!
Oh God!
Oh God!
Please forgive me.
Please forgive me.
For all the traps of worry.
For all the traps of worry
that I put myself in.
that I put myself in.
Lord, I acknowledge today.
Lord, I acknowledge today
that what has been done.
that what has been done
in my life.
in my life,
For the most part.
for the most part,
I brought it on myself.
I brought it on
But
myself.
oh God.
But oh God,
Have mercy on me today.
have mercy on me
And
today.
I realize what I did was wrong.
And I realized what I did was wrong.
And I need your help.
And I need your help.
And I know you can help me.
And I know you can help me.
And by faith in the blood.
And by faith in the blood,
Release me from these traps of worry.
release me from these traps of worry.
Come into my heart, Jesus.
Come into my heart, Jesus.
Save my soul.
Save my soul.
And neighbor, He's done just that. You got that blood in your soul. Now it's time for a miracle. And I want you to put your hand up on the TV or on the computer screen, maybe on your phone. I am not the healer. Man cannot heal and man cannot forgive sins. But I'm a Jesus believer. It said believers will lay hands on the sick. And who, neighbor? You got it right. Jesus. And so that's what I point you to now. Lord, in the name of Jesus, I bring your people before you even now. Traps of worry, oh God, so many nervous systems have been wrecked, so many heart disease have come, Lord, so many minds, Lord, been destroyed because of worry. But Lord, I bring them before you even now, Lord. I bring the little deformed babies, Lord, and oh, the elderly. I bring them all before you now, Lord, and I know that your blood is powerful and your name will do it all. Yea, in the name of Jesus, heal them even now. Heal them even now. Heal them, dear Jesus. We give you all of the honor and all of the glory. And remember, neighbor, write me. Tell me about all the great things that the Lord has done. Well, I'll see you next time. God bless you.